in some of the interviews that I've read that you've done about kind of this ongoing quest to figure out like true character. And I guess I was just interested to know like what you really meant by that.
Well, you know, it's interesting because my dad never talked to me about character. You know, he just set an example, and we had rules to live by, and your character, well, I should say my character, my sister's character just developed. You know, we never had one discussion about character. Now, we talked about honesty and integrity and hard work and those kind of values, but we never had a real sort of sit down talk about this is how you want your character to be. And I don't know why he didn't do that, but I suspect it's because you can't really force feed it. You know, it has to develop organically. And what I've been trying to do with my life is kind of live my life similar to the way my dad lived, and find out if you can teach that to your players or your workers or whoever you happen to be talking to. And sports is a great way to, first and foremost, to get guys' attention. And secondly, it gives me just a soapbox I can stand on every day and talk about character.
How much do you really believe you can find out about somebody's character from watching them play basketball?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people say that about like golf and different sports, and I'm sure it's true. But my dad and I we really focused on that when we would watch a game, or when he'd watch me play and he'd talk about the other team. And I think that you obviously can't tell, you know, if a guy's going to go out and rob a bank or anything like that, but you're predisposed to, when you're fatigued and you're playing a game, to not think about sort of hiding your flaws. And basketball is an easy way to bring that out, because you've got the combination of a few things. You have honesty. You know, when you play a pickup game of basketball, there are no referees to call calls for you, so you have to call your own calls, and you have to give up calls when someone calls a call on you. That's an easy way to tell what kind of person a guy is, because you play with guys who think winning is about just winning, and they do whatever it takes, even lie on a call to win, and that's just a telltale sign right there. You can really tell teamwork. You know, basketball is the type of game where you can't, if you're playing a 5-on-5 game, you can't dominate the game yourself for the entire game, because you end up getting double teamed or triple teamed, and your ability to sort of be unselfish is on display. And then there's the hard work adage. I mean, some guys are out there playing who have no business playing in a game with a certain group of guys, but he fits because he's working his tail off. And that's another trait that you can see from playing. Now, you know, this is back of the matchbook type stuff, but I believed it when my dad said it, and I've sort of watched it as I've grown up.
How do you view your job as a coach?
Well, clearly it's to win games. I mean, at this level, when you're at the elite level of coaching in the Pac-12, you have to win games. But because of the people who I've been exposed to, starting with my parents and coaches and different mentors along the way, I view my job is to not only teach these guys how to play and win basketball games, but it's also to educate them on things that are off the court as well. You know, the term sort of life stories or life experiences or is one of those terms that you hear with coaches. I really want my guys to see more than just a basketball court. And I'll give you an example. When we hit the road for road trips, if we can do it without missing too much class, I like to take my players to see some industry other than a sporting event, to see how most people make their living, so that they can understand fans and why they're in a position to be envied, because they're getting to do what they love to do for a living right now. Our players are. They're playing basketball for a living. Most people aren't doing what they do. I mean, aren't loving what they do. You love what you do, I love what I do, but we're probably in the 1%, maybe 5% of the population has jobs where they absolutely love doing what they do. And I'm trying to teach them to at least try some things so you know what you don't like while you're looking for that thing that makes you passionate.
Right, and let's face it, most of them will not end up making it to the NBA.
They will not, but all of them think they have a shot.
Right, which is important too.
And I don't want to dash that dream,
right.
But I want them to have sort of a parallel dream of, okay, if I don't make the basketball or when the basketball stops, what am I going to do?